These days, women barristers are a common sight, although they still comprise a minority at the bar. While the first male Victorian barristers were admitted to practice in 1841, it wasn't until 1900 that the Victorian bar was formally established. In 1905, Floss Greig was the first woman lawyer in Australia to be admitted to practice at the Supreme Court of Victoria. She wore a distinctive outfit to her admission ceremony. Although described by the New Idea magazine as a lady barrister, Floss Greig worked as a solicitor, not as a specialist advocate in the courts. The first Australian woman barrister was Joan Rosanove, who signed the Victorian bar roll in 1923. By all accounts, Joan was a remarkable personality, widely respected for her advocacy skills and determination.
She was so tough in court. She was gorgeous looking. She had a woman coming to manicure her nails and do her hair in chambers twice a week. She wore the most beautiful clothes, I kid you not. And she had charm and was a fantastic lady. But in court, she'd get a wig on and she was very tough, really tough. I'd never had that sort of toughness. I went to court one day and she was there. She was tearing strips, I kid you not, off a young man who was a young barrister caught up in this family law stuff and blushing and in great confusion, and she was tearing strips off him. She sat down, she pushed a note across, which came to me and said, "Peg, come to Chambers after court." After court, I went over to Chambers. And I walk into the chambers and she's standing in the hall and she is still in a wig and gown and still berating this young man and telling him how to run his case and what have you.
The struggle to get briefs and decent chambers forced Joan to return to practice as a solicitor. She rejoined the bar in 1949, having established a reputation as one of Melbourne's best divorce practitioners. After numerous applications were turned down, Joan Rosanove finally became Victoria's first woman QC in 1965, 42 years after she first signed the bar roll.
It was the happiest day of her life, and I went over and she was surrounded with flowers, and she was absolutely ecstatic. And I said, be honest with me. I said, is this the happiest day of your life? And she said, absolutely. I then added a bit more, which I shouldn't have. And I said, happier than when the day I was born? Oh, good Lord, yes.
Mrs. Joan Rosanove is one of Victoria's 4 women barristers. Her climb to the top of a proud and conservative profession has been long and at times hard. Even now she feels the final reward of a barrister's career will elude her.
I've had to accept the fact that being a female in this day and age, I'll never be made a judge. And I've had to accept the fact that it's always been pretty tough going, that you don't get a terrible lot of breaks. But it is by far the most competitive profession, I should think, of any of the professions. It's highly competitive. And when a young woman starts as a member of the bar, she's got to wait a long time. She's got to be very, very patient before she gets a brief at all. And then she's got to be very successful with that particular brief to get the next brief.
Far more successful than a man might have to be.
Well, you said that. I didn't. Yes, I think perhaps she's got to be better than a man. But she can't start off with any great ideas of setting the world on fire straight away. She's got to be waiting for the briefs and for the breaks. And the briefs that come go, first of all, to the young men.